very good afternoon to you, and welcome to Xandermonium, the talk show that gets you talking. I'm Xander Gibb, and on today's show, I'll be breaking down this week's hotter topics with my co-host, broadcaster, writer, producer, and honorary Glaswegian, Tyhe Paul Egar. And in part two, I will be talking medical marijuana with Mr. C.J. Weston. More to come in a mere moment. Now, you know the drill. You can interact with us during the show in the chat room at the bottom of the show page. Keep scrolling down. It will take you there. Now, if it doesn't let you in, you need to join with Facebook or Twitter so it knows who you are, so you can actually get in on the chat. You can call us with your questions on 347-884-9061. That's 347-884-9061. You can tweet us. My Twitter handle is at XanderGibb, XanderGibb, capital X, capital G. And you can tweet Tyhe on at Tyhe Paul Egar, TYHEPAUL, EGAR, capital T, capital P, capital E. And Chris's Twitter handle is at CJ Weston. That's CJWESTYN, capital C, capital J, capital W. Tweet me if you're too shy, and I will make your point for you. Oh, yes, I will. So the midterms came and went this week, and only 1/3 of voters turned out to vote, and the results were catastrophic, to say the least, for the Democratic Party. Now, whilst the midterms usually generate a lower voter turnout, I'm not sure if they predicted only 1/3 of registered voters would actually turn out to vote. Now, turnouts have been about 50 to 60% over the past 60 years. Only about 40% of those eligible to vote actually go to the polls in the midterm elections. Now, it's been suggested that this is a further no-confidence vote on the current administration, but apparently this is very common for a second-term presidency midterm election. The president still maintains his commitment to fixing immigration and pledges to do so before the end of the year. So let's watch this space. Oh, yes, indeedy. Let's keep our eyes on Big Baz. So the Twitter sphere lit up this week as a picture was posted of a young man simply known as Alex from Target. Now, it even got him an appearance on the Ellen Show and a free iPad. And after a lot of backlash on Twitter from Alex, Target, and the account that first tweeted the now famous photo of Alex, the CEO of Breaka, who claimed responsibility for the meme, has backpedaled again, saying he simply drummed up support for it. So, yay, the Alex from Target meme is real, or is he? The plot thickens. Is Alex from Target real, or is this just a viral marketing campaign, as has been suggested by some? Yes, the cute teenage cashier who seemed to come out of nowhere to woo us on the internet may not be the innocent bystander we thought. And a spokesperson for Target said, "We value Alex as a team member, and from the first moment we saw this photo beginning to circulate, we shared that the Target team was as surprised as it by anyone." That remains the truth today, so they say. So let us be completely clear. We had absolutely nothing to do with the creation, the listing, the distribution, or anything else with regards to the photo. And we have no affiliation whatsoever with the company taking credit for its results. I wonder how much we believe that, because I'm sure Target got a lot of free advertising from that, and even more today from being mentioned on my show. I'm sure we will find out more very soon. Oh, yes, we will. So don't forget to check out Kobe Cole on Tuesday, November the 11th, upstairs at the Stonewall Inn. Showtime is 8 o'clock, and the address is 53 Christopher Street, and the show is called On This Day I Was Born, and I will be there, too, to cover it for my TV show. Born to Sing, the amazing Kobe Cole celebrates his birthday every year, doing what comes best. Come out and experience the magic upstairs in the cabaret room at the legendary Stonewall Inn, and if you're there, come and say hi to me, too. That was Xander's soapbox for this week. If you'd like to come and get on your soapbox, you can email me at Xander at xandergibb.com. That's Xander at xandergibb.com. Oh, yes, indeedy. So I'm just waiting for Tyhe to call in. He should be calling in any moment. Just a quick update. As you know, we shared last week that our brother Sergeant Andrew Tamarisi was released from the Mexican prison that he'd been held in for 8 months. I'm so happy about this. It's really about time this administration started to look after veterans and those that have served us. Now, it's Veterans Day on Monday, and this Sunday it is Remembrance Day in the United Kingdom, which is a very similar event. So I want you to make sure you show your thanks to these people who have served us in the past, and the people that are serving now, and also those that might be serving us in the future. Because one of the things that really concerns me about all of this is that they don't get a fair crack of the whip with regards to housing and benefits, et cetera, et cetera. And now I think that they should be at the front of the queue when it comes to giving out anything, whatever that may be, with regards to benefits. So I think there is still an appeal. So you can go to my website, www.xandergibb.com, and you can donate still to Andrew's fund. Andrew used up all his life savings paying for legal help, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm sure you can still donate to that fund and to send him your best wishes. Also, we started a new thing this week. We started Friday Fabulousness. That was the first episode this week, so go and check that out. It's on the YouTube channel, and so is episode 5 of the TV show, which is the video is on there too. Go check that out. Make sure you go watch these videos because all of the numbers make a difference with reference to getting franchised, et cetera, for TV shows and radio shows. They're all things that they look at. So make sure you go and check that out and click like. And if you're not following me on YouTube, if you follow me on YouTube, it will alert you every time I post a new video. Oh, yes, indeedy. So, my co-host today, as I said, is the one, the only, the fabulous Mr. Tyhe Paul Egar, writer, broadcaster, singer, CEO, and honorary Glaswegian. So welcome back to the show, Tyhe. I hear you've been having some technical difficulties today.
I have. Hi, honey. I'm on my phone with you right now, sat staring at my laptop with a very sharp knife in my hand. My laptop is starting up again now, so what I'll have so I'm chatting with you on the phone. Once the laptop restarts, I shall boot into the chat room, except but I just thought this was a panic call so that you weren't.
We seem to be losing you a little bit there, Tyhe. Maybe start your restart your laptop and then come back to us, because we're not really getting you. Oh, you've gone. So let me give you while we wait for Tyhe to come back, let me give you the number out there so you can call in and talk to us. 347-884-9061. That's 347-884-9061. Call in and give us your perspective on the issues that we are discussing. If you want to comment on Veterans Day, call us about that. The first topic we're going to be talking about today is the U.S. election outcomes, and the sweeping Republican triumph in the midterms boosted the 2016 presidential prospects of three of the party's highest-profile governors. But Democrats on Wednesday said that also could be a silver lining for Hillary Benghazi Clinton's White House hopes even. So the Democratic losses could give her a chance to take over the role of party leader from a wounded President Barack Obama and sharpen her image as the Democrats' 2016 savior. I don't know about that. Now, the results were widely seen as more of a referendum on a question about Obama's leadership rather than a sweeping rejection of Democratic policies. Now, the Republican successes also could help launch presidential campaigns for Governors John Kasich of Ohio and Scott Walker of Wisconsin, not the Scott Walker that sang "Cute, Cute" in a stupid-ass way, oh no siree, who won tough re-election battles, and Chris Christie of New Jersey, who campaigned nationally for the party as head of the Republican Governors Association. Chris was on the TV recently where someone had asked him a question in the audience, and from the audience that were listening, and he was really rude to them. And I don't think that when you're considering a possible presidential run that any of this is going to be any help to you, but there you go. Now, the Association for Republicans' victory in tough election races in the swing states of Wisconsin and Ohio boded well for Walker and Kasich, while Christie's RGA played a big role in several races that broke for Republicans. Now, no senator who is considering a White House bid was up for re-election on Tuesday, and I bet they're glad that they weren't. And Representative Paul Ryan of Wisconsin, the lone House of Representatives member seen as a likely candidate in 2016, easily kept his seat. Now, what do you think about all of this? Was this a commentary on President Obama? Was it more a statement on the country as a whole? What do you think? That's Tyhe back with us now. Are you back with us, Tyhe? Did your computer restart?
I am. Hi. I'm so sorry about that. It was the phone died and then the computer came on. Don't you just love modern technology?
No, I hate it, frankly. And the more I deal with it, the more I want to throw it at the wall. So I totally get where you're coming from. So I don't know how much of that spiel you just heard, but basically we're just talking about the outcomes of the U.S. midterm elections. Basically, what has happened is I'll give you a parallel with the UK. Now, the UK has the House of Lords and the Houses of Parliament, where all the MPs are. America has the Senate and the House of Representatives, so they have like two bodies. But the Republicans are now have majority rule in both houses, and that kind of scares me a little bit. Now, although I'm very I see some Republicans and conservatives very differently nowadays, due to my friendships with people like Dr. Gina Loudon. I still worry, as a gay man living in these United States, what a Republican Congress would spell for me, because they don't seem to be a very inclusive party. What say you?
Yeah, well, believe it or not, it's big news over here. It was very big news when that came in, that the vote had turned that way. But no great surprise, because we're having a big deal over here at the minute about the heads of the parties and who should go and who should stay, because obviously next year it's only really a few months away now before the big general elections for our parties come up next year to see who's going to be leading the country. But the first thing that hit my mind as well was exactly the same as you, Xander, was, oh my God, the Republicans, not the Republicans, they're maniacs, particularly, of course, for minorities, particularly, and obviously the gay community. They're not exactly our friends, or they haven't been in the past. And they do seem to have a lot of really right-wing extremist sociopaths, basically, in their party. But I think what's happened there, hopefully what's happened there is what usually happens here, because we have a party called UKIP, which is the United Kingdom Independent Party, who've suddenly got votes here. But I think really what's happening is people are just letting the politicians know that they're annoyed with them, or they're pissed off with them, whatever you want to say, And this is just their way of saying, you know, we've had enough. The unfortunate thing is, of course, that what they've done now is they've scuppered the Democrats, haven't they, really? Because now of course, the Republicans can just sit back and poke Obama in the eye now for the next 8 months or so, can't they? Which seems a little bit...
The next 2 years, basically.
2 years,
right. But it could actually swing the other way, because I am convinced that what's her name, Hillary Clinton, is going to use this to her advantage, and she's going to trash talk Obama and say, look, his policies didn't work, but I am the new face of the Democratic Party, and I am going to be able to make a difference for you. But there's a lot she's not going to be able to live down. You know, Benghazi, for instance. I mean, everybody says that the issue with Benghazi was that the information, you know, regarding the risk was not passed on, and that the buck stops with President Obama. But you know, it was her department that was allegedly failing. So I don't think that people are going to kind of like forget that. But one thing I really want to say about the Republicans, because I know I have a lot of conservative listeners, and I'm very cool with that fact. One thing that I've learned of late over the past couple of years is that it's important not to generalize. I'm trying to bring both parties together and to have a more unified approach, because we have to love America more than we hate the opposing party. However, both sides, you know, I want to kick their asses, really, because there are some in both parties that really don't represent that potential affiliation. But I think we have to look at that, because if things are ever going to change and things are ever going to get better, if all we do is look at the baddies in the Republican Party, and all the Republicans do is look at the negative stereotypes within the Democratic Party, you know, how liberal people are, then it's never going to change, you know?
No, absolutely, and I think that's incredibly mature of you as well, because I always just want to shout at them. But I think the problem is, you're right, and you can't really blame Hillary for you know, using it as a platform, because God knows that woman's been patient enough, hasn't she, really, in waiting for her time to come. You know, she put up with all that BS that we talked about with her husband last week, or the week before. I lose track of time, folks. I do love talking to you all, obviously. But, you know, she's waited a long time to roar. But the sad thing as well, and it's the same thing over here, of course, you know, I'd love to see everybody united. But at the end of the day, there isn't a politician out there that doesn't have blood on their hands. So, you know, where do we stand? At the end of the day, I think it is time that as long as we have all these separate parties, I don't think we, as the people, are ever going to win. Because who do you vote for? Because as long as they're separate, they've always got something to gain personally. You know what I mean? You know,
exactly.
Be it financial or you know, financially or standing or however, because however they see themselves, however importantly they see themselves, we pay for that image, and however, and we pay for their insecurities as well. So as long as they're divided, so are we.
Absolutely, and I always come back. I always have to come back to you know, I you know, as you know, I left the Democratic Party some time ago, and you know, I kind of said never to return. But you know, when you actually consider about that might mean about having to vote Republican, that kind of scares me a bit too, because you know, I have my own ideologies, you know, on gay marriage. I don't think any church should be forced to marry two people of the same sex that don't go to the church and don't live a Christian life. And I think that that's fair enough. But I'm all for state marriage. You know, for two people of the same sex to go into any town hall and to walk away with a certificate and get the same rights and responsibilities as any heterosexual couple. But I could not, hand on heart, vote for any Republican that was negative about gay people, because it's just like selling away your soul to me, you know?
Well, absolutely. But, I mean, also, let's get past this thing, though, about forcing people to be married. I mean, a priest of any denomination can refuse to marry a straight couple if they don't agree with that marriage.
Exactly.
If they see a problem with it within that union, they can say, no, I am not prepared to marry this couple. So the gay community has no right or to have some law that enforces, and also think about that, people, if you're listening, forcing people to marry you, no, absolutely not. I mean, what are we asking for there? That's scary. That's terrifying language.
It is.
But also,
it is.
Yeah, and also, why would you want somebody to marry you that was full of hatred for you? I mean, what a vibe that is to put on your, the most, wonderful day of your life, or one of the most wonderful days of your life. So I'm not really sure why you wouldn't go down that road. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, why would you want anybody representing you that has loathing for you?
Exactly.
I certainly wouldn't want you there. But why would you want a congressperson or a politician to be representing you who have that kind of imbalance in their psyche? I mean, psychologically speaking,
right.
If you are not capable of balancing your concern and your care for your whole constituents equally, then you shouldn't be in that job. Be you gay, straight, lesbian, black, white, Christian, Jewish, pagan, whatever. Do you know what I mean? I mean, if there is an inconsistency or imbalance in that feeling, then you are not fit for purpose. You should not be in that position.
I totally agree. Now, using the ideology that we just talked about, now there are some states that have tried to implement this religious freedom bill, but obviously it just becomes so ridiculous. It's kind of like saying that businesses, if they don't want to serve someone because they don't agree with their lifestyle, they're allowed to do so. I mean, it's mainly about gay people, but they could say that about anything. They could say, I'm a Christian and I don't want to serve you because you're a pagan. Now, that's ridiculous for any business model, because how are you ever going to make any money? Yeah. However, the thing that kind of like jumps out at me is exactly what you said. It's like going back to that wedding cake situation where they went to that baker and asked them to make her the wedding cake, and she said, no, I can't do that because I disagree with your lifestyle. Why would you want anybody making a cake for you that that had issues with you?
Well, absolutely, but I've never got this kind of this mentality. I'm going to force you to do something. I just don't understand why you would want to be part of that or have anything. Why would you want anything negative involved in your life or your relationship? Or if somebody doesn't want your money, if somebody doesn't want your cash, fine, I'll spend it somewhere else. Okay, honey, if you really are making that much money that you feel you don't need mine, see you. Because I'm guaranteed I'll guarantee you there's a business around the corner that would love my money.
Totally. I mean, this is a big part of my evolution that I used to, and it's a maturity thing as well. I used to only want to be friends with people that agreed with me, but realistically, we can't all agree on everything. And if you surround yourself with people that only agree with you, what does that actually do to your life or add to your life? There's no variety, and if you surround yourself with people that just agree with you, it's kind of for me it's kind of concerning. But I know people. I have friends that absolutely love me, that love Xander Gibb as a person, but disagree with people being gay, and that's their prerogative. But for me, it's how you actually deal with that. It's how you actually behave with that ideology. It's one thing to disagree, but there's a point where that becomes hate, isn't there?
Well, absolutely, but also, do you know what? It's time now. It's kind of like, hello everybody, it's 2015. If you still have a problem with homosexuality and lesbianism, go and seek help, because it is your problem. I've now got to the end of my tether with people. It's time, okay? We know that genetically, we know scientifically that you and I are normal. Lesbians are normal, okay? We know that genetically we are a normal branch of genetics. We are supposed to be here. We know that the Bible was written by people. Stop it, okay? Go and seek help. I am no longer prepared to be your punch bag, okay?
Exactly.
Get over yourself, all right? I'm not interested. I don't care if you cannot cope with me. I don't care, because I can't cope with you anymore, and I'm not prepared to deal with it,
But it's one thing to disagree with you, and even to disagree with your lifestyle. But when they become vehement about that, and when they start hating on you for it, that's for me when it becomes an issue. Because I don't care whether you agree with me or my lifestyle. That's absolutely fine. But don't hate on me for what. I mean, I was going to say for what I've chosen, but I really don't think your sexuality is something that you get a choice in. You can choose to be celibate, but I don't think you can choose to be not gay, can you? Let's face it.
No, but that's what I'm saying, and I don't really feel anymore that I should have to justify that. It's not good enough anymore for people to say, I can't deal with your lifestyle. I don't like this. I don't agree with your lifestyle. Well, what lifestyle is it you don't agree with? Because I might not agree with the way you raise your kids. I don't think it's acceptable for you to be permanently shouting at your kids. So shall I call social work, or child services and say, listen, my neighbours are constantly shouting at the kids. I disagree with the way they're raising them. Does that give me a right to say that? I'm really sick and tired of the world telling me that it can't deal with me because I'm a homosexual. I'm tired of it now. It needs to stop. Society now needs to readjust itself. It's not me that needs an adjustment. It's society. Okay, and I'm really tired of it. And all this hate nonsense. If you feel the need, if you really cannot bear the way that the Western world lives, then don't live in it. Okay, start off somewhere else. There are plenty of other parts of the world that don't live like we do. If you do not want to live in America or the UK, leave. If you don't want to live in Australia, just leave us alone, and let us get on with our lives. Mind your own goddamn business and go somewhere else. Because I'm sick of it. I'm tired, sick to the back seat of listening to you complain about the way I live my life. In a country, by the way, where I have the right to live my life this way. Just saying.
Absolutely. We live in countries, thank God, where we have religious and political and everything else freedom. But there are some people that come to the country and want to change those freedoms. And for me, this is the thing. And I'm probably going to get lots of hate mail about this, but I really don't care. If you're not born in a country and you come to live in a country, yes, you've got every right to affect some change to make it a better place. But if those things that you actually want to effect change about actually impinge on the rights and freedoms of others, then piss off back to where you came from. Frankly, would you agree with that statement?
Of course, don't come to somebody else's country and start to oppress. Oppression is not positive movement. Oppression, it's just it's oppression, isn't it, Tyhe? That's the way it's called. Oppression. It's just change and fear, and what you're doing is spreading the hatred and fear that you bring in from another country. People are trying, but there's a reason people are leaving countries like that. It's because they don't want to live in oppression and fear. And those people they're trying to get away from are following them and trying to drag that oppression and fear with them. And it's ignorance. And what really annoys me as well is one of the stories I know we're going to talk about. By the way, folks, if you're wondering why we've suddenly dragged the story into this from politics to well, it's not. It's all to do with it. You'll find out with one of the stories we're going to get to in a little while is exactly this. It's that hypocrisy as well. Because the people that are doing the shouting the loudest are usually the ones that are the biggest offenders.
Absolutely.
And that's what really makes me angry as well. So what the thing to do these days as well, I think, is when somebody's pointing a finger at you and shouting at you and calling you the offender, the first thing we need to do is switch the spotlight on, instantly Google that person and find out what they're up to, because I'm willing to bet money that they are offending in some very big way, or they're hiding something they don't want you to know about. Because the point,
it's a very obvious behavior, isn't it? It's like when kids go, Mom, my brother is doing this. They often do it so that the mother doesn't look at what they're doing. It's a typical behavior. But that is an excellent lead-in into the next story. The leader of the ATLAH in Harlem, that is known for its anti-gay stance, is in the news this week once again. I found this quite funny, actually. James Manning, their leader, made yet another outrageous claim against the gay community, or should I say the LGBTQIABC community, and his claims give new meaning to the phrase, "come for a coffee." Now, he's asserted, these are his words, folks, not mine. He's asserted that Starbucks, we love you, Starbucks, is ground zero for Ebola after they released its first LGBT commercial starring Bianca Del Rio and Adore Delano of RuPaul's Drag Race fame. Now, Manning has released another video recently in which the religious leader claims that, how am I going to say this without laughing? Get your journalist head on then. The religious leader claims that Starbucks has been using the sodomites' semen in their flavored coffee drinks. He states in his video, Starbucks is a place where these types frequent, and a lot of body fluids are exchanged there. But the thing that I was not aware of is that there has been information that has been released. What Starbucks was doing is they were taking specimens of male semen and they were putting it in the blends of their lattes. Now, this is the absolute truth. He's saying. So the church has a history of anti-gay sentiment. They first made the headlines in late February when religious leaders posted on a sign reading, Obama has released the homo demons on the black man. Look out, black women. A white homo may take your man. The church then later replaced the sign with one that read, Jesus would stone homos, along with stoning is still the law. And later, Harlem is a sodomite-free zone. Stop sodomizing our children in schools across America. Now, as you would expect, many LGBT people have stood up to the hate from Manning at the ATLAH church. So what's your first response to this? And would you like cream with your coffee, Tyhe?
Well, I've got to say, I want to meet this man. And I want to meet the people who believe what he says because, and I say this publicly and I do not care, he is a moron. How stupid do people have to believe? I mean, what happens? Are there any Starbucks in Harlem? I mean, what? I'm sorry. Now get my professional head on. What do people honestly believe, that gangs rush into Starbucks and how do I say this? Leave deposits for Starbucks.
Yeah, it's kind of
cunningly, surprise black women. What's he even accusing us of doing? Are we spreading Ebola or trying to impregnate black women with gay
all
sperm?
Three. I think we're going to coffee bars, spreading Ebola, and leaving our seed and stealing all the black men, but only in Harlem. That's kind of like the impression I'm getting. But I do hope, this is a very litigious society. I hope Starbucks sues them because I know for sure there are some people out there that might believe ridiculous bullshit like that.
Okay. But honestly, then, but if there are people out there that believe that and they came into my franchise of Starbucks, I would politely ask them to leave and never return because they were clearly too stupid to pick up a coffee cup, frankly.
Exactly.
But that's just my opinion. And if you are listening to this and you believe that that's happening,
Exactly. But there's method in the madness of this, Tyhe. I think that this is partly to do with the fact. Now, do you remember a couple of years ago, or maybe it was last year, a company called Chick-fil-A came out as a company against gay people and gay marriage, et cetera, et cetera. Now, Starbucks of this year has actually come out and said, we support gay marriage. And I think that this is why they are being attacked. If you're a Christian, you shouldn't go to Starbucks because they support gay marriage. Why not? Why? I think that if Jesus was around today, I think that Jesus, when Jesus was around, if you believe in Jesus, the Bible says that Jesus mixed with prostitutes, moneylenders, etc., etc. So if Jesus was around today, do you think Jesus would say, "I don't want to be friends with you, Xander Gibb, because you're gay"? I don't. Because Jesus does not love me any less because I'm homosexual. And anybody who believes that, then they really should be on their knees repenting for the hate in their hearts. Really, they should.
Well, absolutely. But the whole point of, if anybody bothered to really go into the history of the man that people call Jesus Christ and his travel, the way that he traveled and the people that he met and the way that he talked, he was a very spiritually enlightened man who traveled along quite a distance across the planet. So the last thing he would have been appalled or surprised about was homosexuality, and I wouldn't have cared less, and also would have been surprised, I think, at people's lack of spiritual awareness and certainly lack of people's imagination. And I'm sure he would have enjoyed a good coffee.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna get some T-shirts made. Maybe I'll get them made and give them away next week as prizes, saying Jesus loves Starbucks.
You could get.
So can I tell you what? The best call of the if we get some callers today, the best call of the day, if anybody dares to call in, call us now 347-884-9061. That's 347-884-9061. Call us, and the best caller of the day, we will send you a Xandermonium T-shirt saying Jesus loves Starbucks.
And Starbucks will.
Don't all call at once. What?
And Starbucks can sponsor us. Thank you very much.
Exactly. Where does the ridiculousness end, Tyhe? That's what I want to know. Because if they're making ridiculous statements like this, I mean, what's the first thing you think about people that make these ridiculous statements? You think, how stupid. How stupid is this guy to be making these kinds of statements?
Well, absolutely, but I mean, also it makes you wonder though, who's looking? I mean, who's looking after him? Seriously, I mean, if nobody going, no, stop. Have you any idea how ridiculous that sounds? Do you know what I mean?
He needs his meds. He needs his meds sorting out, doesn't he? Let's face it. I mean, making statements like that. I mean, what next? You know, if McDonald's comes out in support of gay marriage, is he going to say that the special sauce is very special? You know?
The mind boggles, really, doesn't it? I mean, what what is next? Because seriously, somebody should be saying. I mean, what can I say? I would be saying, are you aware? Like, I'm going to read this out loud to you before you publish this. I'm going to read this out loud to you. What do you think? Do you know what I mean? Because you need to be aware of how stupid you sound. And then if you still want me to publish it, we'll publish. But I just want you to know that you sound ridiculous.
I mean, I'm all for people to have an opinion. I'm all for people to share their opinion. That's what freedom of speech is about. But, just because you got the right to say it and you've got the freedom to say it, you always have to say what's in your mind. If I always said what was on my mind, there would be some very offended people around. I assure you. And surely that's what's the word? Filter. That's what your filter is about. We all have ridiculous thoughts, but we don't all share them in public. So I think this guy gets the award for being the wanker of the week on this show. I mean, what a freaking idiot! Now I know they've got a Facebook page, so go to this guy's Facebook page and tell him what you think. They are called the ATLAH Church, and they're in Harlem. So I don't know. Send them something interesting. Send them a free $1 off at McDonald's or not McDonald's at Starbucks and tell them that Xander says hi. Because I think these idiots are more to be laughed at and pitied than anything else. Don't you?
Well, absolutely. I mean, at least nobody. I mean, this kind of thing I'm happy to have fun with, because nobody with an IQ over, over 12 could possibly believe this. So I don't. in the sense that he's causing any kind of problems to the gay community or the straight community whatsoever. And I'm sure that Starbucks I'm sure Starbucks have offered him money to make a commercial, to be honest, because I would.
Yes. And I mean, imagine getting pissy because two drag queens were asked by Starbucks to do a commercial. I mean, who cares? If I don't like something on my TV, if I find it offensive, then I switch it over. Isn't that far simpler?
Absolutely. I mean, I would certainly be. I do it all the time. I just that's rubbish. Don't want to know. Don't care. Well, Kardashians. There you go. They've got a new series. I saw that and I was offended. I just turned the channel over instantly.
Why were you offended, Ty? Tell us.
Because they just do my nutting. They have no talent. They serve no function. I mean, what function do they serve in the universe, Xander? Answer me this.
I don't know. I've been asking myself the same question for a long time, and I think a lot of actors. I mean, if you think about the amount of training we've received in our lives to do the things that we do, and people like that are just, I mean, let's face it. The reason why these people are famous is because of a sex tape. Now, they're famous because allegedly their mother pushed this sex tape, and I'm saying allegedly because, I don't want her suing me for the $47.52 that's in my bank account right now, because I really do need that for groceries next week. But I do think that we have to remember how this started, and I've watched it. It's mind numbing. I wish Kim would cry more. I love it when she cries and she's got that snotty crying going on. But let's face it, we need some new blood on the television. And I mean, there is a new show out there on Fridays at 6 o'clock called Xandermonium. I don't know if you've heard about it, but that guy is really funny, and we should have him on this show.
I have watched a couple of episodes. I'm hooked already. What can I say? It is a fabulous show.
Fabulous. Yeah, he looks like he's losing weight. That guy, actually, and
he looks like to me. He looks like he's lost at least 15 pounds. Actually, I have to say.
Yes, at least. And I can't wait to see what he looks like at the end of the process. But getting back to the Kardashians, are we not kind of a little bit responsible for this, Ty? Because we watch it, we talk about it. We give them free. Sorry?
Yes. Yes, we are. Now I have to. I was going to say no, we are, but now we are. Yes, I have to include myself in this clearly because I keep mentioning these people, even though I don't watch the show. But I'm going to plug Botched again. I am completely hooked on Botched. I can't stop watching it. I say that I hate reality
TV. Who's in that?
It's just people that come into these two doctors. I must start mentioning the doctors. I keep forgetting the name. Who are
it's about plastic surgery.
Yeah, they correct.
Yes, I've seen it. It's an American program, isn't it?
Surgery. Yes, but these two doctors are top of their game. Obviously, they're the best, two of the best in the world. But some of these people that come into even when these two doctors have said to them, no, we're not going to do this because you could potentially die. They then, the cameras are then turned on these potential clients afterwards, and they say, well, I don't care what the doctors have said, I'll get my way eventually. And I think, well, do you know what, Darwin Award, you're going to die, and it's probably a service to mankind, frankly, because you've just been told by two of the best in the world that you're going to die if you do this, and you're going to do it anyway. So, bye-bye now. So, but I've become hooked.
I kind of think it's good when some of these plastic surgeons turn around and say, I think you should go get some counseling and ask why you're actually doing this, because I mean I have no problem. We live in a society where plastic surgery is kind of like the norm. I have no problem people going and getting eye bags done or whatever, but when people go and get surgery to look like someone else, like that guy, I don't know what the hell his name is, but I got surgery to look like Justin Bieber and then look nothing like him. I mean, what the hell is that all about? What does that say about where you are as a person if you want to look like Justin Bieber?
Exactly. But he was on the show, and they said to him he wanted his jaw shaved, and they said absolutely not, because this could leave you maimed, basically. But he's completely delusional, because they were, the cameras were interviewing him, and he said, well, what I've done as well, other people have put me down before, but I've mastered my craft as a musician, right? And then they showed him, my God, he went into a recording studio to record one of his songs Now, he's mastered his craft, don't forget. Now, he thinks he's a master craftsman as a musician. And he started singing, and I had to lie down. And because I've never heard so much dreadful noise in my life. Well, that's not true. Any karaoke bar I've been into, I've heard that kind of dreadful noise. But it was just appalling. And this guy, he's completely delusional. And I think he's in his late 30s. You know, he's not a kid. He's not excused for this. And he's talking about, I want my hairline changed. I want this because I'm a believer and all this. And I just thought, what you are is a tragic middle-aged man that needs to get a grip. But completely delusional and a dreadful. And if you're listening to this, you are a dreadful musician. Well, in fact, calling you a musician is an affront to anybody who can play a paper and comb, frankly.
Exactly.
Exactly. But he wanted his jaw shaved to look more like Justin. And what they were saying was, no, you've got got a massive amount of nerve endings there, and if you get it wrong, you'll lose control of your lower lip, and you'd never get that back. So they said no, they do not.
Oh God, it could really affect his singing.
Well, exactly. I think that's what they were clearly that's what they were concerned about.
I think they were probably worried. They were worried that possibly his singing would be affected by it.
They look concerned.
So I actually have no problem with people wanting to get plastic surgery, but when they get it for things like that to look like somebody else. Oh, the other thing I can never understand is these people that go and get penis enlargement. I suppose it's no different to breast implants, but when you see a woman, you always see how big or small her breasts are. Not that it's something that we notice per se. I don't know. Maybe it is. I'm speaking for myself here. Maybe you do notice. But
not really.
A penis is not something that everyone see. I mean, I saw on one of those surgery that went wrong. One guy that had tried to have a penis enlargement, and it looked like kersplat. I don't know what it was. It was like when one of those vegetables that you grow at home that grows all in funny shapes. It was it reminded me of that.
I don't grow my own vegetables at home, Xander. No.
So I thought you'd be out there in your window box, Tyhe, and on the 25th floor.
No,
you live what?
A 7th story. I don't grow anything. I buy it. If I can't buy it and have it delivered, I'm not interested. No, I understand. No, I've seen those shows. Men that have gone through life with sort of 2-inch penis and things, and can't cope. I understand that. That
are you referring to any of your exes now, or not speaking from personal
Thankfully,
experience?
no, because frankly, I have to say, if any of my exes are listening, they'll like this next comment. I have to say that thankfully I've never had to put up with that because I am a size queen. I would say, take that away and bring me a bigger one.
That's what she said. Okay, moving swiftly on. We got time for this very last.
I've never had to say that.
Yeah, I was changing the subject because I shouldn't have gone there, but because you never know who's listening. So
that's all I had to say. That was it. No, that was a positive note. That's what I'm saying. If my ex are listening, they would be happy with that comment. I have nothing negative.
And we know all of your exes listen to this show, sitting there with their voodoo doll, sticking the pins in.
Well, they probably do. There aren't that many of them, can I just say?
So the final story of today, a $15 grocery run. What's going on with my teleprompter? Here we go. A $15 grocery run has cost 2 single Colombian moms 48 days in jail and a possible 14-year prison sentence as a result of a crackdown on smuggling in Venezuela that's ratcheting up tensions and highlighting a growing economic distortion between the neighbors. Jennifer Rojas and Belcy Alvarez were arrested in September by Venezuela's National Guard walking out of a supermarket in San Cristobal with bags of, can you guess what they were arrested? Not cocaine, not heroin, pasta. bags of pasta, mayonnaise, and other staples that are heavily subsidized in Venezuela and whose sale is restricted to the country's residents. So you can only buy pasta, mayonnaise, etc. if you actually live in Venezuela. Now, along with the cashier who rang up the purchases, they face charges of smuggling and violating the socialist government's new law of fair prices, whose penalties include 10 to 14 years in jail. My daughter is not a criminal, Roja's mother said, and told the Associated Press that after a recent visit to the jailhouse this week, she said this is not an isolated case, and an estimated 100 Colombians among the nearly 1,400 people who have been arrested in the past 2 years as part of the president's effort to root out smuggling he blames for widespread shortages. Now, Colombian officials say the president has also stirred ill feelings by alleging so far, with spotty evidence, that a gang of Colombian hitmen were hired by the government's enemies as abroad to murder a pro-government lawmaker this month. Well, I would want to kill him if I was getting arrested for buying pasta, let's face it. And he said, don't let yourself be poisoned by the hate campaign against Venezuela, Maduro said last week in a nationally televised remark addressed to Colombian families. Now, what the hell do you make of this, Ty?
I have no idea what to make of it. Well, firstly, my question is, why is pasta such a scarcity in Venezuela? Is wheat, I mean, what's going on? Well, is wheat really difficult to grow there, or I mean, is there some bizarre treaty going on with? Do they have to smuggle pasta in, or is it just some bizarre?
I don't think it's any of those things. But wouldn't you have thought that I was going to say bags of heroin or cocaine or bags of ecstasy pills or?
I was a little taken aback when you said pasta. Yes, I was it wasn't where I was going. No. And why suddenly are they making a big issue about this and saying, like, you're going to prison? 15 years, did you say?
Up to 15 years, yeah.
I mean, why suddenly they're making a big deal of this? Is there something going on in the country? Are they trying to get coverage for something, or, have they? Is there some political coup going on at the moment?
I have no idea, but it just seemed to be one of those, when governments make up ridiculous rules, like during Prohibition, they banned alcohol. What the hell was that all about? I mean, what good did that do?
It was about control, wasn't it? And it was about controlling because they're losing taxes. And let's not start. You draw a history lesson on prohibition.
Yeah, but it's still a very it's a very ridiculous control method, and I kind of think that that's what this is about. Why the hell would you put someone in prison for buying pasta? I mean, even she didn't even steal it. She bought the pasta and the mayonnaise, et cetera, and they arrested her for doing so because to transport it over state lines is against the law. I mean, I'm glad someone told me because my love for pasta. I'd be in Venezuela and I would be arrested for popping back over to Colombia with my box of pasta and my mayo to make my pasta salad.
Well, that would have been me. Yeah, Midnight Express 2, the Xander years. I mean, it was kind of
exactly
to me as well.
Exactly. No. The Midnight Express 2, the Xander years would have been pizza, and then for the period I was vegetarian, we found a place that did vegetarian pizza too. So we would we would get that brought in when we'd been smoking illicit items, like kippers and stuff. But don't you find this? I saw this and thought it was a very obscure story, and I wondered why anyone in their right mind would think that that was fair to arrest someone. Well, that would be me. That would be like me popping across to New Jersey to Walmart, which I often do, in my little van, and being stopped at the border by the border patrol, saying it's illegal to take pasta and mayonnaise into the state of New Jersey. I mean, what the frick is it all about, you know?
It's very strange, and it seems very strange that they're making this big public issue about it as well. It strikes me that there's something, that there's a reason for that. There's something coming out of that, I think.
Yeah, I think there has to be a lot more to it than the movie, but I just found the story interesting. So I want you to tell us a bit about. We've got some time left. I want you to tell us about what's been going on with you this week, because there have been some changes in your company, hasn't there, Mr. CEO?
There have. Yes, we are finally trading. We are now ready to. So if you're listening now, rush to that cupboard, open it, get out your dusty old manuscripts, and start emailing them to us or send us that music. I'm bored, by the way. If there are any musicians out there, I say I'm bored. That's the worst thing I've ever said. That's not true. But I'm writing for the second album. I'm writing with my co-writer. But if you've got any music out there and you want somebody to write lyrics and etc. to it, send me the music, email me the music. We're trading. Broken Flowers Multimedia is now alive. So I've been in the process of putting all the accounts together and linking everything together. And my business partner, as we speak, is frantically running through her bits, because I said to her, right, I've done my bit, here's your bit, go away and do it, as you know, when we were talking earlier today. So for people listening, all the services now that are available on the website, you just go and see anything you're interested in. You email us, tell us what you're interested in, and we will send you a quote. And if you're happy about that, we will get on and do the work for you. So we're now ready to proof or edit novels. I will be one of the editors, by the way. I am hands-on with the novels. Not the proofreading, but the editing. The music services are up and available. PR, you would need to speak to me about PR. We'd have to deal with that face-to-face, really. So if you're in the States, you've had it. You can speak to Xander. But that's what's been happening, yes. So I've not done any writing for a change. I know I usually say, I've just been writing. But not this week. Not this past 2 weeks, in fact. I've done no writing whatsoever. I've been putting the business online. So there you are. Broken Flowers Multimedia is now.
But you've actually been doing some producing, haven't you? You've actually been doing some producing.
I've been producing over here. I've been producing for you as well.
Absolutely.
And I've been producing over here. I'm producing. Well, hopefully what I'm doing as well is with Jennifer. Jennifer being my business partner, the other director of Broken Flowers, and we're going to produce some pieces for Xandermonium TV show. So you lucky people get to see what I actually look like too.
Yeah, you will get to see what Tyhe looks like.
Which is either a good thing or a bad thing. It depends what mood you're in on the day, I warn you. Depends what my hair's doing as well. I'm not necessarily got any control over it whatsoever. But yes, so I do. Sometimes I look a little bit like Judi Dench. So it's a bit.
That's very insulting to Judi Dench, Tyhe. Come on, be fair.
It's not. She loves me. She loves me.
There is nothing like a dame.
Dame. Nothing. Yeah. But so there's a lot been going on, yes, and production. Yeah, I forgot about that. So I've been busy.
Yeah, absolutely, because Tyhe is executive producer of both the radio show and the TV show. So what you might not actually see him on screen up to now, he is involved in a lot of the behind the scenes planning for the show, because it takes a lot of work, and I do most of it, but it's very hard to do it all yourself, as Tyhe is finding out with his new business. He's got 12 balls in the air at any time, and It's very hard to have 12 balls in the air anytime, I'll tell you.
Well, absolutely. Absolutely, particularly with two hands and two legs. But you have done an amazing job over the past 2 years. How you've done this on your own has been phenomenal, really has, because just putting this together over the past couple of months for me has been incredible. So, you have a huge amount of respect. I have a huge amount of respect for you for doing this on your own.
Well,
so
thank you for that, but for nothing else.
Yeah.
No, thank you for that. I've always got a cheeky comeback with everything, but I do wish you every success with your business. And if there are people out there listening and you have a book that you want to publish digitally, Tyhe is the person to speak to. So make sure you. If you actually go to my website, www.xandergibb.com, on the front page, there's a carousel, and you'll see a picture of Tyhe, and you'll be able to click on that, and it will take you directly to Tyhe's website. But do you want to give out the address? Can you remember the address?
I can manage that. And email us with questions. We will answer your questions. We don't charge by the letter. Do you remember? You know what I mean? We will answer questions, but we have covered all the minefields, and it is a scary process, so we do understand that. And you can get us at www.brokenflowersmultimedia.com, and the email to directly ask us questions is express@brokenflowersmultimedia.com, and we'll answer you, and we'll get back to you within 2 days. But just simple questions. But we understand, we've been through these processes. It is a scary and hard work to get a book out there. And if you're not sure whether it's ready and you want professional advice, then that's what we're here for. Okay? So we look forward to hearing from you.
And I can tell you now that I believe in the company so much that they will be doing all the stuff for my second book, which will be out next year. The Boy from Beyond the Ice House Part 2. The London Years. So I fully believe in them, and there'll be quite a lot of crossover. They're going to be doing some work on the TV show and stuff too. So I'm just kind of like highlighting how much trust I put in these people. So make sure you do the same.
Thank you.
Make sure you contact them and find out what they're doing and how they can help you. And you even just do, even if you're not gonna edit the book and stuff like that, you actually, obviously for a fee, but you'll give advice and direction of how a book should go.
Absolutely.
You do that kind of thing too, don't you?
Of course we will, and we'll copyright for people. We'll advise, and also what we'll do as well. You don't hand over any money to us before we'll consult with you. And we'll give you a quote. If you're happy with that quote, then we'll go ahead with the work. But we'll negotiate anything with you, because we know what it's like out there. Because we've obviously gone out and looked at these sites, and we've looked at some websites and thought, are you kidding me? And there are a lot of people out there who are happy to grab your money and run, or grab your money and give you a really poor service. So what we've done, that's the whole point, is what we've done is put a service together that isn't going to do that for you. So there are no hidden costs with us. There is no such thing as small print with us. The whole point is everything is up front. We are very clear about what we're going to do for you or what we cannot do for you. And we are very honest also. Brace yourself. We will say to you, maybe you should consider, rewriting the whole thing before you do anything, or, we will break down things for you. So it's what you get what you ask for with us, but everything is negotiable. So we don't have necessarily set fees. We will work with you with what you have. We will try and be as fair as possible, and we will try and work with what you have. So let us know what you want.
What you're saying is you have a sliding scale, don't you? And you do your best to work with people.
There are set things. If you look on the website at the pricing and what we offer for proofreading, Jen has set down scales for specifics for proofreading and editing. There are prices per so many thousand words. That's her domain. She set that in. That's kind of set in stone. But you can work that out yourself as you look at it. That will tell you. So how big your book is it will you can work out yourself how much will cost. But if you want other advice or other things, then you can email us and we'll work with you and say, well, okay, we'll cut that down, we'll do that more cheaply for you, or we can negotiate with you. We're not here to just snatch people's hands off. We're here to help people and give the best advice we can. And if we don't know something, we will say we don't know, but here's a way to find out, or we will find out for you. But we won't bullshit you.
And when you say, I'm quite prepared to be honest about the kind of hurdles that I've had as an author, and I'm not going to mention company names right now, but there are companies out there that offer you the moon, they offer you the world, and they don't even give you a copy of an atlas. And these companies are real thrifters, and they say that they'll do this, and this for you when they're also things that you wouldn't have to pay for anyway. So be very careful about who you get to do these services for you. Even the first edit of my book, I got someone to do it. And again, I'm not going to mention names, but it's let my mistakes help you to do it right, and I saw references about this person who edited my book, and basically they made such a bad job of it that I kind of made me look stupid. So learn from other people's mistakes. Use a good company like Broken Flowers Multimedia, and I actually wish they'd have been up and running when I was publishing my first book, because I would have used them for that too. Do it right the first time.
It is, and the thing is, and don't rush. I know it's really exciting. I finished my book, I want to get out there, because I've been there. When I finally finished my first book, I just wanted to see it out there, but that's it. Don't rush. Don't speed your way through it, because you will make mistakes and you'll regret it in the long run. And I'll give you a freebie right here and now. Okay, so before anybody emails us. I was reading something interesting the other day about ISBN numbers, International Sellers Book Numbers, okay? And a lot of these companies will say, oh, you need an ISBN number. You don't, not unless you're going to physically publish a book. You do not, if you're just publishing an e-book.
You mean a paper version? You only need it for paper version. Right.
Yes, you do not need but you can have one for an e-book if you want, but you don't need one for an e-book. I don't have one, and I'm not going to have one for any of my books, because I will only ever publish e-books. I have no interest in publishing physical books. But if you are going to publish a paper book, then you absolutely do need an ISBN number. Then you need to get a reputable company. Any company who's going to sell you an ISBN number for £2.99 or for $6, don't touch them, because it needs to be a properly registered ISBN number. Because once you attach it to your book, that must be registered worldwide. And there are different companies, it needs to be registered in America, it needs to be registered in Europe. So you need to be really careful about these companies. But a lot of them will say, oh, yeah, you can have one for a couple of dollars. That's not good enough. But you do not need an ISBN number if you are only publishing an e-book. So there's a freebie for anybody who's listening, okay? But a lot of these companies will happily sell you an ISBN number if you've got an e-book. Okay,
I was actually told that I had to have one for the project. I was actually told that I had to have one for it to be for sale on eBay and Barnes & Noble, et cetera, et cetera. But you heard it here first, folks. That's not the case. It really is not the case. You can actually do all of these things yourself, but doing it yourself and doing it well is a different thing. And this is, take this from someone that has paid out money to a company to do these things for them, and they've just not done it very well. And I think that, I hope you don't mind me saying this, Tyhe, but this is where you actually saw a gap in the market, because there are companies out there that are doing it really terribly, and this is something that you have lots of experience in, and you can actually do it well. So that's why you're kind of like jumping on this gap in the market, as it were.
Absolutely, because we saw that and just thought, right, hang on a minute, we can do this so much better. And also and because as well, obviously Broken Flowers as well, I wanted to start my own record label as well, so that was put in there as part of it. But yeah, certainly the book publishing services, because we did, as I looked around, when I was looking for help, all I could see was certain companies like the one you used, and the ones you've mentioned, and I saw other ones very similar, that were just, I thought, you're just going to rip me off. You're going to rip people off. You're going to give a really poor service for a lot of money. So, yeah, I spoke to my business partner and said, you know what, we could do this a lot better.
I actually think it's a very interesting point, but a lot of the things that I said that were erroneous, they actually don't offer these things anymore, because I said, I have quite an in-depth legal knowledge when it comes to publishing and that kind of thing, because I've worked in this field for a long time, and so even I can be. What's the word I'm looking for? Even I can be fooled. So take some advice from someone that's actually had the experience of being effed over, if you like. Go to a reputable company like Broken Flowers and get them to do it, because they're with you through every single stage. And you see, this is the beauty of this. They actually do what they say they're going to do. They don't give you lots of promises that they can't fulfill. They only provide services they're able to provide well. Am I stating that correctly?
Absolutely, and we'll offer you aftercare as well, so it doesn't stop there. Once everything's out there, and you've got, because we'll put your Amazon page together for you if you like as well. That's part, obviously, we charge for that, but it's part of the whole package. There is a complete package we will do from beginning to end. So that's up there on the site. We explain that. But even when that's finished and done, if you've got any concerns or anxieties, or you just want to chat with us, that's exactly what you do. So there's aftercare there, and that you don't pay for that. We'll stay in touch with you. We'll chat with you. We'll follow it through for you. We'll help you. We'll help you build up your website if you want, whatever. We'll be there as a friend after that. We'll keep in touch. But we'll always offer advice, or if we've learned something, stay on MailChimp with us. We'll keep you advised as to what we're going on. If we learn anything after, as we learn as we go, we'll share that with you. It's not about just snatching your money out of your hands and then forgetting about you. It's about keeping that community growing.
So also to clarify, Tyhe, that people don't just have to be in the United Kingdom. You're actually offering this service internationally, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Anybody. Well, as long as in my ignorance, I only speak the one language. I can only speak English. So as long as you
call that
English? Yeah. As long as you can communicate with us in English, it doesn't matter where you are in the world, because if we're putting the book together on any page for you, be it Amazon, obviously we will put it on your page in your territory. On
but in
Amazon.
English.
We won't put it on the UK, but in English, yes. But we wouldn't automatically, obviously, even though we're based in the UK, for example, if it was an American client, we would put it on the Amazon.com page. We wouldn't put it on the Amazon.co.uk page. So clearly, we would put it on your territory first, and then obviously it disseminates throughout the whole of Amazon. So, we would make that clear to you. But yes, anybody anywhere in the world wants to work with us, we will work with you happily. And when it gets to the PRS and the music publishing, obviously, if we release something on our label, then it's a subsidiary of the UK label. Then there's nothing I can do about that. But the company is registered in the UK. But the music then is released digitally, so it's irrelevant really, but it would be first available on iTunes and Spotify in the UK. It would then become available worldwide.
Right. But even though you're registered in the UK, you actually are an international company, and as with most internet-based companies, you can trade anywhere in the world, even in the galaxy.
Oh, yes,
if you're on
Absolutely.
if you're on another planet and you want to a book produced, then call Tyhe, but make sure you use your universal translator when calling.
Well, people do that with me anyway, to be honest. But we're also registered with Companies House, so if anybody wants to check us out as a legitimate company, you can check us out there. And at the end of every financial year, we have to present our books to Companies House, so you can also see that. So we have to prove ourselves to the government every year. So that's the other thing you can check us out with as well. We have to prove our incorporation to them every year. So you can check us out at Companies House as well. So we ain't hiding anywhere.
And I recommend them highly too. And you all know out there that there are not a lot of companies that I do recommend. So I will vouch for them too. I will put my reputation on the line for them. You know, I've known Tyhe for 25 years, and he will take very good care of you. Now, I just got some messages, Tyhe, that the guest for part 2 has been an offender bender. Which I think is a hilarious phrase. It doesn't mean he's been hit by a gay guy in a car, but he has been an offender bender, not a gender bender, and we will rebook his segment for the future if he's very nice.
Okay.
But I think that brings us very much to the end of the show for today. But tell people, Tyhe, I know you've just given your business web address, but tell people where they can find you on social media.
On social media, darlings. You can find me. You can just follow me on Twitter for now, really, at Tyhe Egar. But do you know what? I've just said it all. Now, the easiest thing to do, because as you will all be rushing to www.brokenflowersmultimedia.com. All my media links are on there. You can follow me at Twitter or on Facebook. Or where else am I, Xander? I'm on.
You put me on the spot there. Go to the page and go and look. Even my details are on there. God damn it! You know, get your ass to the website.
I'm everywhere.
Anyone can follow me as long as you're good looking.
BrokenFlowersMultimedia.com, and all my links are there to Twitter and Facebook, and there's other things I do as well, Vine and God knows what else. And I have
to say, Broken Flowers Multimedia was in operation before they stole the name and used it as a movie. So there you go, wasn't it?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Broken Flowers. We were just going to be called Broken Flowers, but then they made a movie called Broken Flowers. So that's why we're called Broken Flowers Multimedia, because they've nicked all the web hosting names. So that's why we became Broken Flowers Multimedia. Yeah. They beat us to it. Well, they didn't beat us to it. They got the name out there first. So,
absolutely.
Yes, there we are.
So get your butts over to Tyhe's website. Go and support him. And if you're not following him on Twitter, on Facebook, make sure you do that too. Show your support to our hosts. And Tyhe will actually be back with us next week for Xandermonium. And in part 2, next week, we will both be interviewing a musical group called the Media Whores. So make sure you join us for that. But for now, thank you very much, Tyhe, for joining us this week. Sorry, go on.
No, it's one of my favourite rock bands, the Media Whores. Yes, I'm very excited about that. They're excellent. You'll love them.
Me too. I'm looking forward to hearing more of their stuff. They're actually on tour right now, but they will be taking time out of their busy schedule next week to talk to us on Xandermonium. It's actually the lead singer that's coming on, isn't it? What's his name?
Craig.
My brain is
Craig.
Craig.
The lead singer and writer.
Is that Craig or Craig? In America, we call people called Craig. They call him Craig. Hey, Craig.
Yeah. Well, yes. Well, over here, as we've established, we speak English, darling.
Well, some of you do. You bloody don't. No, they don't speak English in Lancashire. They speak Lancashirean or something.
Lancastrian. That would be Lancastrian, wouldn't it?
Lancastrian. That's right. There you go. Okay, Tyhe. Well, listen. Thanks so much for joining us today. I look forward to you joining us again next week, and I hope you have a good one.
You too. See you guys. Bye.
Brilliant. Thanks a lot. Take care. Lots of love. Bye-bye. That was the fabulous Tyhe Egar. Make sure you check out his website, www.brokenflowersmultimedia.com. Thanks to everyone who's made today's show possible. Thanks to you for listening and your continued support. Don't forget to check out my website, www.xandergibb.com, and make sure you follow me on social media. Oh, yes, indeedy. As I said, we'll be back with you next week, and my co-host will be Egar, and the guest for part 2 will be the one, the only, the fabulous media horse. So thanks for joining us today, and I love you all. Bye-bye.